Hello, it's Marlena from A Pen and a Purpose, and today I'm just going to show you the new Kindle Scribe that recently was released by Amazon. I'm going to show you the different aspects of this. This is the one that you can actually write on and take notes with. I'm coming from having had several Kindles in the past for reading, and I also use an iPad with GoodNotes for notes, as well as a device called the Supernote for taking notes. And the Supernote is the one that I use on a daily basis for my work. It helps me to organize my thoughts and stuff like that. So that's my comparison. So I'm going to show you this. I just have the device here. I had a case. I didn't like it. I had the original Amazon case in pink. I think it's pretty ugly. And it really, to me, it cuts into my hand when I'm holding it. It's not comfortable. This device is very well made. It has metal backings, feels like an iPad a little bit, with these little feet so that it doesn't slip on your desk. So if I put it down and I'm like pushing it, it doesn't really slip. It is curved around the sides, so it's comfortable in my hand. So if I'm holding it like this to read, that's pretty comfortable, which is important to me. I know with some of my other Kindles, my little ones, even though they are smaller and lighter, they often become really uncomfortable in my hand right there. There are no buttons on the device itself for reading, and so that's something to keep in mind. On the side here, they have a power button, and then they have the charging port, which is a USB to C, which is handy if you have an iPad because it's the same cord. So I just turned it on. You can see it turned on really quickly. Mine turned on right to my library. You can also go to home, and home will show you the last few things that you were looking at, as well as the Kindle store recommendations as usual. What's new for this particular Kindle is that it does come with a pen. I bought the one that has the Pro pen because it has a little eraser. It has a button that you can use for different things like erasing or highlighting. I have mine on highlight right now. So I'm going to start with showing you that. But before I do, I just want to mention that a lot of reviews talk about this and how that's kind of awkward because, as you can see, it's bigger on this side than it is on this side. So it feels like there's some space that is, I guess, being used up by the bezel. I really appreciate this when I am reading though, because that's where I'm putting my thumb. On this side, I end up turning the page when I don't mean to, and that's super frustrating. And so I do appreciate having this bigger bezel on that side. For notebooks, you can go into the notebook section and you can see here that I have folders, and within those folders, I have items or notebooks. This is the extent, as far as I can tell, of how you can organize documents within the Kindle Scribe. So it's very much, in my opinion, lacking the ability to organize documents. So I'm going to go into my test document, and you can see here that I have 3 different notebooks. 2 of them I did not rename yet. One of them I named Sketchbook. So I'm going to open that first just to show you. You can do a little bit of doodling in here, and you can also write. But I'm going to start with a new notebook just to show you how this works. When you hit the new notebook button up here, it comes up with this particular create notebook square. You can add a name to your notebook, so let's name it test 2. And for that, you have to actually type. You're not going to be able to write that in handwriting. You can then create any template that you want. Usually, if I was going to create a notebook for myself, I would create it with dots because I like bullet journals. I like those dotted notebooks quite a bit. It's just the way that I work. So I created it, and you can see that these dots are terrible. They are huge and they're dark and they're super distracting. To me, they don't look like they're seamless. They look like the spaces might be different sizes, and maybe that's just an optical illusion. But to me, I would never use this because I just think it's incredibly ugly. So, if I were to write on here, I don't know, the dots just take away from it, right? So I'm going to change the template for this particular notebook. I'm just going to show you a few of these. I feel like the same thing happens when you choose the grid. That's a very dark grid. And so I don't think I would use this. In fact, I know I wouldn't use it. You can see I'm tapping every time to go back to this icon where I can change things. So this one, you know, it's a to-do list. It has some check boxes and, you know, the lines. That's kind of nice. To me, the lines are kind of far apart, so I don't know that I would prefer this. I think I'd rather just draw it myself or make one and email it to myself. There's a calendar that you can use. It's a blank calendar, so you can add whatever it is that you want to add to it. So for right now, I'm going to show you. Here is the little icon that you can expand to get to your eraser. I'm just going to erase this. So you can see it has a little bit of a shadow there from when I erased, so I can still see the word Monday. However, that's just an e-ink thing that'll go away in a second. So I'm going to show you a few more of these. I am not a fan of any of these, so I just want to tell you that right up front. Here's a music note one, so maybe if I was a musician I would like this, I'm not sure. The only one for me that I would maybe use is this one. The lines are closer together, they feel more reasonable to me with the space. It's still very dark and I prefer a lighter line, but that's the only one I would probably use. What I typically will use right now with this Kindle Scribe is the blank one. And so let's just start with a notebook. So let's say that I want to start with a to-do list. I'm just going to write, so I'm going to select the pen in this area, and I'm going to start with a medium-sized pen just in the middle to show you what it looks like. So I'm going to write to do at the top with a line. There's not a leg, so that's pretty nice. I can erase that by selecting undo right here. If I did that again, I could also erase it with the back of my pen because I have that pen, the Pro Pen, I think it was called. So that has an eraser on the back. You can see it erased. It does have a little bit of a shadow. When I change the page and go back, it's gone. That's an e-ink thing. It just takes a moment to go away. You can also program this little button to be an eraser. So if I was holding that and erased, it would erase. Right now I have it on highlight, so that's what would happen for me. If I wanted to change the thickness of my pen, I can go to fine, which is very fine. So I'm going to put a little to do here, which is clean. If I went up all the way to heavy, I can see that it's like a marker, and I can right here, that's like record video. So those are the differences of the lines. So thick or heavy, thick, medium, thin, fine. So that's that. The next one is a highlighter, and it has the same thing. So you can go fine, oops, fine. You can't really change the color. So it's just this gray color, but it works fine if you wanted to highlight something. So if I wanted to make sure I really cleaned, I could highlight that. A little bit of weirdness at the beginning there, but that's probably because, oh no, it did it again. It's weird. So, you know, I just got this. I'm still trying to figure it out. You know, why does it have this little blurb there? I guess I probably put it on the screen weird or something like that. All right, so let's say I wrote out my to-do list, and let's say this looks normal. Oh yeah, the eraser's here too. I don't think it, oh, it does. It changes. You could also do an erase selection. Oh, that's new. I didn't know that before. So you learn new things. So for the eraser, you can also make a very small eraser. So let's say I wanted to use the small one because I just wanted to like get rid of this little E. That's what I would select for that. If I wanted to get rid of the whole word, I would select the big one. And then it looks like I just showed you, you can also erase a selection. So I can erase that or just that. That's pretty cool. I like that. Or I could erase the entire page. But I actually want to undo that because I want to keep this page as it is. And I'm going to start my next page, which is going to be meeting notes. And I want it on medium because that's the one I like. So I'm going to just write a title here at the top. And so I'm writing my oops, see, I hit the button. That's one of the problems that I have often with this, is that I keep hitting that button on my pen. So I might change that and turn that off. So I'm taking my notes, and let's say I I would prefer this meetings note to have a graph because I'm going to draw some kind of chart in my meeting notes. So I could go back to these templates and choose the little graph, and voila, it changed it to the graph. However, the problem is it changes your whole notebook to that graph. And so you can't have a blank page here and the next page is the graph paper, etc. The notebook can only be one template. So I think that's kind of unfortunate. The other thing that I don't like about this is that I can't say, oh man, I really wanted to have, my master to-do list on page 2. I didn't want to have meeting notes there. There's no way for me to actually add a note in between here that I've been able to find so far. So there's no way to organize pages. So that's kind of frustrating to me. Let's say, so this is my page 1 of 2 on the bottom. I forgot to put in a title or, a title page so that when I went back to my notebooks here, I'd like to be able to see it's saying like my daily notebook or something like that on the front page. I can see what was on that page, and there's a couple different things you can do. If you're in the notebook and you go back to this little template thing, you can choose cover, show current page, or show the first page. That is the limit of how you can organize within your notebook. So I guess my recommendation, and I have not remembered to do this myself, is to skip the first page so that if you want to title it, you can do that. Or if you wanted to put some kind of index or something like that to show what's in that notebook, that you can do that in the beginning because you can't do it afterwards. The other thing you may notice on here is that although it has that cool function that I just found with the erase selection, which I actually am really excited about, that's the only time I've seen that. So in my Supernote, one of the things I really, really love about Supernote is that I could say, I really wish that this gap wasn't here. And so I could lasso this and move it, or I could lasso this, cut and paste it to the next page. This does not have that. So literally, from my experience so far, the only organization that this has is you can put things in folders, and then within those folders, you can have different notebooks. I can't even create another folder within this notebook. So that's kind of unfortunate. To me, this device is kind of like going back to having a bunch of different notebooks for different things and trying to figure out where did I write that. So when I first opened up the Kindle Scribe, I was like, this is not useful for my life. I really need that organization because of the way that my brain works. But then I took it and I actually started to use it. So I took it into my living room and just had it on my lap and was taking some notes on a class. And I found that because it's so sturdy, I don't feel like it's precious. I feel like I probably could drop it or my cat could jump on it and it would be fine. So, I mean, I'm not going to try to drop it to see because that, might not be fine. I don't know. It feels more glass. It feels more like my iPad screen than my Supernote screen. So I brought this out to my couch and I had it on my lap and I was just taking notes. I loved that it had a backlit screen because my Supernote does not have a backlit screen, so it's hard to see if I'm in my dim living room taking notes. And I really liked the way that it wrote. I already showed you it doesn't have any delay. So, even if I'm going really fast, it doesn't lag at all. And so that's really nice. It does not have any pen pressure. So if I go light and go heavy, there's no difference. So that's unfortunate. So as I was using it, I started to think, well, I actually like writing with this. The pen is really nice. It's about the size of my Apple Pencil. So that's an Apple Pencil with a skin on it. So if you can see that, they're about the same size. The Apple Pencil is a little bit bigger, a little bit longer, and then the tips are different. So the tip on the Pro Pen is plastic. If you drop it, it breaks. Ask me how I know. I dropped it right away because it comes in this like really slippery plastic and it fell out right away. So I had to replace the tip right away. It comes with this metal thing. You just pull it out, put in a new one. It's not a big deal. They don't cost very much. I'll link to it below. Both have the flat side. So if you like that with your Apple Pencil, you'll also get that with the Pro Pen. The Apple Pencil is quite a bit heavier than the Pro Pen. So I really, the weight of this is really, really nice. The only thing I don't like about it is this. Okay, so I do like the button, but right now I don't like the button because you just get used to where it is. I have another pen that does that for my Supernote, and you get used to it. You stop hitting it after a while. So that's the notebook function. And you can also upload a digital planner or some other kind of PDF. I don't have one on here right now, but I did test out a digital planner. The tabs worked. You can write right in the planner. So I'm going to go over to the reading, which I think the reading part is very, very, very nice. And you can see here, this is super even. I love it. I don't see any like bleed or anything like that. You can go into this book and you can change it, the brightness all the way up. I'm going to make this like crazy bright, and then cool. So this is kind of like an iPad screen in a way. So it's very white or bluish white and very bright. Like I would not have it this bright because I was going to say I wouldn't have it this bright because it's super bright, but you know what I mean. So to go back in there, you can also go all the way over to like very yellow. Now, when you do that, it's not really, this might be accurate, but this is not accurate because it has all these little black lines on it. But you can see that it's very yellow, and that looks a little bit weird to me. You get a little used to it as you use it. I would never use this yellow. Although as I'm looking at it, it's like becoming more white to my eyes. Anyway, so I have used it all the way at the cool side, and then also somewhere in the middle is nice. And I'm also going to turn this down, but I'm going to keep it kind of up so you can see it well. So right now I'm in a book, obviously, and you can see that the black is, I mean, it's nice. I remember the first Kindle and some of the Kindles where you just wish that the text was a little bit more black or a little bit darker so that you could actually not like stress about, can I see this? Maybe nobody else did that, but I did. So there's, the same as any other Kindle, you can change the font, you can change the boldness. So that's kind of cool. So you can go even bolder with your text. So I'm going to go back to where I was. You can go all the way down to very, very small, very, very small. Lots of words on that page. And then you can go all the way up to very big. So it is good for accessibility for people who have low vision, which is nice. So I like mine around 6 or 7. Layout, you can mess with the margins and stuff like that. Same as any other Kindle, you can mess with this. You can see that there's this little icon right here, which is a finger. That is essentially telling me that I can use my pen as a finger. If I click on that, you can see that there's a few other things here. The first one I'll show you is this little 3-dot thing, which moves this to the right side. On both sides, you're not going to have an issue with it running into the text, so that's nice. But it is something to get used to. I like it on the left side, but it's something to get used to because this isn't normal to have on a book, but you get used to it. The other cool thing here is that you can now put sticky notes into your book. So I clicked on this little sticky note, and let's say I want to add a note right here. It says, of course, dying rarely was. So I could write a note about dying rarely was. Oops. So see, I hit that button and it freaked me out. So I gotta twist my pen a little bit. Dying rarely was. So I'm writing. Again, I have it on medium and there was no lag. My handwriting looks pretty normal for my handwriting. I didn't do it in any sort of precious way. I just wrote as I wrote. I could also hit text note and I could type in a text note. But for this, the cool thing is that it has handwriting, right? When you're done with a note, you can just hit this little X. And then if you remember, well, thought I put it by Dying Rarely was, but it went to picking. There's this little tiny note right here that I can click on to bring it back up to see what my notes are. In terms of this, reading, it's awesome. Super comfortable to hold. You can put it on your stomach laying in bed and read it. It's kind of great. In general, you know, it turns pages pretty quickly. I am not having any issues with that. And I really like reading on this. I prefer reading on my Kindle over my Supernote. I prefer my Supernote for most things that have to do with note-taking because of the organization. I really think that this has a long ways to go. It's super basic when it comes to notebooks and when it comes to any sort of organization. So in general, am I keeping this? Yes, because I just really like gadgets. I like to read on this. I like the backlight for when I'm in a low light situation. And if I'm just taking notes on something that I'm not really going to be changing much, this is fine. I think that is all that I have to share about this Kindle Scribe right now. If you have any questions or want me to show you anything else about this, feel free to leave a comment. And I'd also love to know if you are thinking about buying a Kindle Scribe and if you find any fancy covers. I bought one on Etsy and I can't really review it because I don't have it, but I really don't like this one that I got from Amazon. It's right here. I'm returning it. It's super ugly to me. You might love it. I thought it was gonna look really cool, but it's feels kind of plasticky. And these sides are, can you see that? It's like sharp. Super uncomfortable. So I would not read with this. In fact, I was using it for a few days and I just was like, no, I'm gonna read it while it's naked. I was gonna say I was gonna read it naked, but just the thing is naked. This is the pen holder, which goes at the bottom of your Kindle, or I guess if you were gonna do it upside down, it'd be at the bottom or at the top. It's hard to get out. So that's also not nice. And it does do the, like, wakes it up and puts it to sleep, but this button, watch, it's sleeping. It's on. I don't think I need that. This is very strong. No issues. I mean, wiggle it. I mean, it's not even on right. It's not falling off. So again, if you have any questions, comments, etc., let me know. This is super long. I'm so sorry. And have a good day. Leave me a comment. Leave me a like if this was helpful. All right, bye.